My mom's love carries urgency when hope starts to fade into silence. She's desperate for a sign that you're the one who will stay. When she says urgently, it's because she's ready to fight for our future. My mom's call is a soft cry for love she still believes is possible. She needs to meet you before her faith in us turns to doubt. The urgency is not fear, but a fierce desire to protect her child's heart. My mom's eyes look for truth in the man who holds my heart. She calls urgently because love demands honesty even when it hurts. When she says urgently, it's because she sees what I'm afraid to face. If this touched your soul, don't scroll, comment your favorite quote, and subscribe for more. My mom's love feels every heartbeat of a fragile relationship hanging by a thread. She wants to meet you to see if you can heal what words have broken. The urgency in her voice is love's final offer before the silence swallows us whole. She calls because a mother's intuition never forgets what the heart hides. My mom's urgent request is a beacon in the fog of my doubt. She needs to meet you before fear turns hope into regret. The urgency is a soft plea from a heart desperate to believe in us again. When she says urgently, she's giving love one last chance to be heard. My mom's eyes reflect the love she's trying to protect in me. She calls urgently because love is fragile and deserves every moment it can get. The urgency in her voice is the echo of a mother's unwavering faith. She wants to meet you because love's healing sometimes starts with a single conversation. My mom's love is a fierce flame, burning urgently to keep us warm. She calls because sometimes love's loudest message is spoken in urgent whispers. The urgency isn't just time, it's the depth of a mother's longing for peace. When she says urgently, she's asking for your heart to meet hers halfway. My mom's love waits in the silence between urgent words and quiet tears. She wants to meet you to decide if you're the calm after my storms. The urgency in her voice is the language of a heart that refuses to give up. She calls urgently because love is worth every risk and every heartbeat. My mom's urgent call is a fragile hope wrapped in a mother's fierce love. She needs to meet you to see if your love can heal my silent scars. The urgency in her voice carries a lifetime of prayers she's whispered for us. She calls because sometimes love demands one last chance to be understood. My mom's heart races, hoping you're the calm I've been searching for. She wants to meet you before doubts become walls too high to climb. The urgency is a mother's way of holding on when everything feels like slipping. She needs to meet you to see if you're the warmth behind my coldness. When she calls urgently, it's because love is teetering on the edge of silence. My mom's love is fierce enough to risk breaking if it means saving me. She wants to meet you, to see if your truth matches the love you promised. The urgency in her voice hides the fear of losing her child to heartbreak. She calls because hope often sounds like urgency when the heart is fragile. My mom's heart is an ocean of love, waves crashing in urgent tides. She needs to meet you before the space between us becomes forever empty. The urgency is not panic, it's a mother's deep knowing of what's at stake. She wants to meet you because love's healing begins when fear is faced. When she says urgently, it's a prayer for honesty wrapped in fierce protection. My mom's call carries the weight of every silent tear she's held for me. She needs to meet you to see if you can carry the love I struggle to hold. The urgency in her voice is a mother's love refusing to be quieted. She calls because sometimes love's loudest plea is spoken in whispered urgency. My mom's heart aches with hope, waiting for the love she's never stopped believing in. She wants to meet you before the silence between us becomes a permanent goodbye. The urgency is a fragile thread connecting the past pain to future hope. She needs to meet you to understand if your love is real or just a dream. When she says urgently, it's because she feels the weight of every unspoken word. My mom's love is a fire that burns brightest in moments of urgent need. She calls because love is sometimes found in the urgency of a mother's heart. She wants to meet you to decide if your love is worth the fight ahead. The urgency in her voice is the echo of a heart that refuses to give up. She needs to meet you to see if you'll stand when the storms come. When she calls urgently, it's a mother's way of holding on to fragile hope. My mom's heart beats fiercely for the love she still believes can heal me. She wants to meet you before fear turns hope into endless regret. The urgency is a mother's silent prayer for the future she dreams for me. She calls because love sometimes demands a chance to be heard one last time. My dear, my mom's urgency hides a secret she fears you'll never understand. When she says urgently, it's because your silence broke something inside her heart. My mom's urgency carries the weight of unspoken truths between us. She wants to meet you before everything she hoped for with you fades. Behind her urgent voice is a mother's hope for your love to be real. My mom sees what I refuse to admit, and she's terrified for us both. Meeting you now feels like a crossroads she's desperate you don't ignore. The urgency is less about time and more about saving what's left of us. My mom's heart races not from anger, but from the love she still holds. She wants to know if you're the one who will finally heal my brokenness When she calls urgently, it's because she senses the storm before the calm. My mom's eyes plead for answers I'm too scared to ask myself. She needs to meet you to decide if hope is worth holding on to. The urgency isn't pressure, it's a prayer whispered through a mother's tears. My mom's invitation is a fragile bridge between doubt and belief. She waits, hoping you'll prove love can still be trusted. The urgency in her voice is love's last desperate attempt to save us. She wants to meet you to see if you carry the promise I've lost. My mom's urgency is a silent scream for truth beneath all the smiles. She knows more than I say, and that's why she must meet you now. When my mom calls urgently, she's fighting shadows only a mother sees. She hopes your eyes will hold the same warmth that once healed me. The urgency is love's final spark, begging not to be forgotten. My mom's heart beats for the love story she prays you will write. She wants to meet you to catch the pieces I keep dropping silently. My mom's urgent call is a quiet battle between hope and fear. When she asks urgently, it means the silence between us is deafening. She needs to see if your presence can mend what's been broken for years. My mom's urgency hides a fragile faith in what you might become to me. The moment she wants to meet you is the moment she believes in us again. Her urgency is a mother's armor against the pain she's seen grow. She needs to know if you'll stand by me when the world doesn't. My mom's urgent invitation is a chance to rewrite the story she's afraid to lose. She calls because she sees the cracks I try to hide from you. The urgency isn't fear, it's a mother's love refusing to give up. She wants to meet you to understand if you're the calm after my storms. My mom's voice breaks with urgency because she's holding on to hope for me. She's desperate to see if you can be the home I've never found. When she says urgently, she's asking you to step into a fragile truth. My mom's love speaks in urgent whispers. Only hearts on the edge hear. She wants to meet you because her love sees what I'm too scared to admit. The urgency in her call is a quiet cry for the love I still deserve. My mom's heart is heavy, yet hopeful, wrapped in every urgent word she says. She needs to meet you before the distance between us becomes permanent. Her urgency is not pressure, but a plea to not lose what little faith she has. My mom's eyes search for the love story she once dreamed for me. When she asks urgently, it's because she's been waiting for you to prove yourself. She wants to meet you to decide if you're the peace I crave. My mom's urgency is a silent prayer, whispered in fear and fierce love. She calls because her heart knows what my lips won't say. The urgency is a mother's fierce protection over a love she refuses to lose. She wants to meet you because she's seen the pain only true love can heal. My mom's urgent call carries the weight of every tear she's ever cried for me. She's asking for one meeting, one chance to believe in us again. Her urgency is the soft voice of a mother who won't let go yet. When she says urgently, it's because time feels too short for her hope. My mom's heart races, knowing the truth is fragile between us both. She wants to meet you before the silence turns into a permanent goodbye. The urgency in her voice is the last thread holding us together. She calls not to judge, but to understand the man I've chosen. My mom's love is a storm, urgent and fierce, trying to protect her child. She needs to meet you to see if you hold the kindness I deserve. When she says urgently, it's because love sometimes needs a voice louder than silence. My mom's urgent call is a lifeline thrown across the distance between us. She wants to meet you to ask if you're truly here for me. Her urgency is a whisper of a love story still waiting to be written. My mom's heart beats faster because she senses something is broken inside me. She calls because love is sometimes found in urgent moments like this. The urgency in her voice is a mother's fear wrapped in hope. She wants to meet you to decide if your love can withstand the storms ahead.